Welcome to this video from LCM Data Group. This video is part of a series of videos that talks about how we manage life cycles for Cisco products. And in today's session, we'll be taking the 101 course, where we'll be talking about some of the basic terms used by Cisco when talking about lifecycle milestones for their products. So when Cisco talks about milestones, there are 8 key milestones that we'll be going through today in this session, and these are standard Cisco milestones and present for all devices and products. This provides us with a series of predictive timelines triggered by the end of sale announcement, and the overall life cycle covers about a 7 to 10 year lifespan. So let's begin with a high-level timeline for an arbitrary Cisco product, and this runs from 2014 to 2022. And we're going to walk through this timeline and look at the various milestones that happen across this life cycle and this date period as it relates to Cisco's milestones and the various announcements Cisco will make across this life cycle. So the first is a sales start date. This is usually announced 6 months before the actual sales start date by the Cisco sales team. And that is when the device generally becomes available for purchase. Of course, with the latest products, you get all the latest features and functions associated with the particular Cisco product or solution. Now, the next key milestone that happens is usually about 2 or 3 years after the sales start date, and this is an end of sale announcement. This is usually given by the Cisco sales teams or Cisco partners, and that announces within 6 months the product will become end of sale and will be within the end of sale status. And so if we zoom forward a further 6 months from here, that's when the formal end of sale happens. So this initial period can be variable depending on how long Cisco keeps the product in market. But once the end of sale has actually been triggered, then the following timelines are standard for all Cisco products and solutions. So in this case here, we have an end of sale announced on January 15th, 2007. So let's look at what happens after that. Well, the first thing that happens is 1 year after the end of sale, we have the end of native operating system support. So this is not the application support, but the native operating system support. And from this point on, software fixes may only come with new software OS versions. You may get critical updates and patches applied to the existing OS, but generally you should count on the fact that new software fixes and updates will only come with new software OS versions. Another thing that happens at this same point is your ability to add new service contracts ends as well. So this again happens 1 year after the end of the sale, and this is your last chance to put your device under coverage from Cisco's technical support services. From this point on, all you can do is renew until the last day of support. So if we zoom forward another 2 years, this is where we have the end of application software support. And this happens 3 years after the end of the sale, and this only applies to the application software. OS support will continue until the formal last day of support, which you see will happen in this case in 2022. The next key milestone happens 1 year after that end of application software support, and this is the last day that customers that use this particular product solution have a chance to renew their maintenance contract on that particular product. So this happens 4 years after the end of sale, and this begins the 1 year clock before the last day of support, or LDOS, gets triggered. This applies, of course, only to devices that are currently under maintenance, and we need to make sure devices ending after this are code-turned before this particular date. And then the final date in the Cisco lifecycle, which is the 8th milestone that we talked about, is the last day of support. This happens 5 years after the end of the sale, and at this point, Cisco technical support on both the hardware and OS ends. And essentially, the device is now in the Cisco cemetery. So as we can see, there are a number of key milestones that happen across the lifecycle of a Cisco product. And understanding these, understanding the meaning of these, and making sure that we're aligned with Cisco so we know when these announcements come out, can help us manage the lifecycle of the Cisco product so that we can mitigate risk within our network devices and also within our Cisco products across the lifecycle of those products. So really throughout these, the 2 main milestones that you really want to pay attention of is the end of sale, because it's that point on the following announcements and milestones are absolutely fixed, all the way up to the last day of support. So thanks very much for taking the time to listen to this short video talking about some of the milestone terms that Cisco use, and be sure to tune into our next video where we'll be looking at where lifecycle management data resides for your Cisco products and solutions. Thank you very much for your time.